in the last 2 years, we already have blockchains that do 100,000 transactions per second, blows Ethereum out of the water. And you're saying at 2027, Ethereum is just going to be now faster. And there's actually 2 more upgrades after that. Who knows how long that's going to take?
Is Doge one of those coins that moves way faster?
Doge is on the Litecoin blockchain, so it moves a little bit faster. But I think when it comes to like tech, when it comes to like performance tech in the crypto space, I think we're way too confident in certain coins.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are on the Trader Society podcast, and we have a special guest with us, Noah Defraties.
All right.
Did I say it right?
Defraties, perfect.
Defraties, good.
I love it. The man, look at that beard.
Sounds like a Greek mythological god or something.
Right? Jesus.
Zero
look
Greek.
Look at the chest. Look at the arms. Like he's the crypto god.
The crypto god.
The crypto
This is
god.
what crypto
Mr.
does to you.
Defraties. You gotta love it, man. You gotta love it. But he's our special guest, and he's actually in charge of the crypto division at Driven.
Yes, sir.
What do you do? What do you do as far as it goes with Driven?
Sure. So pretty much everything crypto in Driven is my gig. So teaching people about the space, in charge of the education, how to trade, how to set up cryptocurrency, also involved in the Metaverse side, so developing our Metaverse, and also our NFT program. So really anything blockchain, that's my gig.
Man.
So I got a question for you. Are you I know there's a very big difference. Are you more involved in the cryptocurrency side, or are you more involved what is your passion?
Tech?
The tech behind the blockchain, that stuff. Are you what are you more passionate about, the actual tech, or are you more passionate about the coins?
Great question. It's really the tech, but the coins are kind of my specialty. So the coins are going to be, that's kind of where I understand it the most on opportunities right now, because really the other spaces, and everybody can argue this, whether it's I just think that NFTs and the Metaverse, they're just newer. So where I can help people right now, kind of in that more direct way, is the coin space. But as those other spaces evolve, that's where I'll start to be more involved in showing people opportunities. Like I'm sure you guys saw in the NFT space, people getting started in, say, investing. We saw the average NFTs, they were $3,000 was the floor. It's okay, not everybody's going to have enough to buy $3,000 NFTs and be able to flip these things. And that's on the lower end. You're seeing NFTs hundreds of thousands of dollars. But cryptocurrency, you can have a few dollars and buy certain coins. You can even buy a fraction of a Bitcoin. So I really think the coin space is where I'm focused right now, but as things evolve, we'll get deeper and deeper into those spaces, and I think there's just tremendous opportunities in those spaces, but it's just it's more of a timing thing.
For sure. For the average person, I would say that someone they don't want to spend time day trading or position trading or whatever. For the average person, I would definitely say that going the crypto space where you're actually investing would probably be the easier and less work, especially if you listen to someone like Noah, than any other thing as far as investing.
Yeah, I think. Were you gonna say something?
Top 3 coins. I was inside of that, I want to know, what are your top 3 coins?
So that's a loaded question, because the thing that I tell people is it's one thing to be in a powerful position, but it's another thing to have the mindset to actually be successful in that position. Mm-hmm. Because I show people, even on Bitcoin, for example, if you bought Bitcoin at the top of, whatever market top it was, whether it was Bitcoin when it was only a few $1,000s or closer to $20,000, if anybody buys at the top or anywhere near the top, and they don't understand how Bitcoin moves, because on average, Bitcoin retraces 70 to even 88%. That's kind of the low. They're going to sell. They're going to buy high and sell low, right?
Hey, that's what I like to do. It's a good strategy. It's a great strategy.
So if they don't understand the asset class that they're investing in, it doesn't matter what coin they're in. They're not going to have the mindset to know how to act
or market.
Yeah, or
anything.
Exactly. So that's the first thing I like to get across, because there's a lot of powerful positions, but even with the most powerful position or powerful coin, if you don't know how the markets work, you're probably going to not understand it and make the mistakes that everybody's making. So if you do understand that space, it's all going to be time horizon. For example, like long term, there's not that many coins, so it's actually kind of an easy game. There's only a few coins that are really projected kind of in the future, have that support, we call it like institutional support or support where the money is flowing to actually be in. Then it kind of comes down to like your Bitcoin, your Ethereum, your XRP, Quant, if you start to go a little into the fringe there, but it really depends. Also, like my bread and butter beyond that is going to be finding kind of the altcoin space, the spaces of the coins that are very powerful that really haven't had that adoption yet, and are most likely going to have those parabolic runs, like your Solanas, say you're like your Dogecoin, something like that has those parabolic runs. But as we know as traders, with a parabolic run, you have to know when to get out, how those react as well. So again, it really is understanding what you're investing in, whether it's something that's newer and lower market cap versus something that's more established and something that you're going to hold on for the longer term. But really, once you have the mindset, it's finding what your investment horizon is, what type of investor you are, how you're going to trade it, and how your psychology is going to be for that position. Because I truly believe, like, for example, if somebody invested $25 a week in Bitcoin over the last 6 to 8 years, $25 a week, like a homeless person could do that, they'd have $1 million.
Yeah.
So in the way they could do that, and the way people can do this, is by investing money that they're not, that they don't care about. Mm-hmm. And that's the biggest piece. Like if you didn't care, just like with like IRAs or 401ks, people wonder like, what's the magic with that stuff? Like how, the people got that retirement money from it. Well, it's because you didn't look at your portfolio every day. And that's kind of the basis of the mindset that people need to have with cryptocurrency. Like I tell people again, so you have we'll take Bitcoin as an example. It retraces 70 to 88% on average. So that means, say you invest, let's say $100,000, right? Let's just give a big number, for example, to make this more extreme. You invest $100,000 into Bitcoin and it retraces 90%. How much money do you have in your portfolio?
$10,000.
$10,000 after $100,000. But if you understand Bitcoin, that might not be as big of a deal to you.
So I have a question. So whenever you're investing in Bitcoin, right now we're speaking in terms of Bitcoin priced in dollars.
Yep.
You think there'll ever be a day where we get rid of, it's not priced in dollars, it's just Bitcoin, because at the end of the day, that's the utility of it, is to be able to, interact and exchange money between peer to peer, right?
Yep.
So if that happens, shouldn't I feel like the goal should be with investing with Bitcoin is to acquire more Bitcoin.
Yep, you're spot on. So I totally believe that. One thing that I saw that blew my mind was the St. Louis Fed, which they give like CPI data for certain goods. Like for example, they'll give the average price of a dozen eggs,
right?
And they'll show the price in dollars. But recently, they actually showed the price in Satoshis.
Really?
The St. Louis Fed had a report on eggs, and it said the average price of eggs in Satoshis. So exactly to your point, a lot of us, we look at our portfolios in dollars. Mm-hmm. And I tell people, count coins, not dollars.
Right.
And that's how I stay sane in this. Like when I think about my portfolio, my long-term holds, I'm always like, how many XRP, how many Bitcoin, mm-hmm. and that's what keeps you sane, because I truly believe in the future we are going to have that base. Like if we do believe that Bitcoin is a new asset class like gold, we'd value it in the value of Bitcoin
right.
or gold.
Right. Okay.
See,
I love
so
that.
funny you say that, because for example, people that are half your skill level, that know about the market, know about everything that's going on behind it, I noticed that they're a lot more calm right now than the people that are just invested and don't really know about it. And another cool thing that I learned about it was, like, if you own 0.28% of a Bitcoin, you're going to be top 1% of the world.
Yeah,
And
it's like in like 8 years, like
if we adopt.
So
Bitcoin.
it's like, keep putting that money into it, because I mean, there's a good chance that we will go that route. And I think that's such a cool statistic. And people think that they need to be owning full Bitcoins and whatnot. It's like, just invest what you can.
You know, if
like
you think about it, right, like especially because you brought up like the St. Louis Fed, right? Bitcoin is an open source ledger, right? With you can see every transaction ever made. So therefore,
which
I don't
is
think
also unidentified, which is incredible. It's unidentified,
it is,
but it's also
it is until
it's the most
something
truth,
happens.
It's the most truth telling.
Wouldn't this
like ledger?
Like
you can launder money all the time, but you can't launder money with Bitcoin. That's what I love about Bitcoin, is that it's an open source code. Everyone can see. If I send you Bitcoin, y'all all can see how much I sent him.
But my point is wouldn't an open source ledger be the government's like gold just fell into their lap? Like, oh, now we can see every single transaction ever made on an open ledger, and then we can assign wallets to people.
Maybe
and then this is
code.
Huh?
Maybe you just cracked the code.
Yeah, I feel like it's a little scary sometimes.
It is.
We know who Satoshi really is.
I mean, because I agree with that, but then I don't, because I feel like that right now with the way NFT space is going and everything else, I feel like they would have adopted it way faster.
They're always 20 years behind on everything.
Well, they know what I think they know what they're doing, but
I don't know. It's hard to. It's just really hard to say.
What do you think, being in the space?
Do you think because this is more of a conspiracy, I guess now, but because there's a thought that like the government owns Bitcoin.
Okay. So it could be a possibility, because Bitcoin, they say it's like decentralized, right?
Right.
But it's not very decentralized.
It's not very decentralized.
So there's, I forgot what percentage it is, but the majority of Bitcoin is in the hands of just a few players.
Right.
And who those players are, we don't know. But we do know is that the mining the mining nodes or rigs out there, they're very decentralized.
Mm-hmm.
So the cool part about it is, in my opinion, it's decentralized enough that over time, but you can take the argument that the money always flows into the same, percentage people over time, which could happen. But also what could happen is it could bleed away. If commerce ends up being very Bitcoin dominated, it would essentially then start to bleed into those wallets more and more as that happens. And to your point about actually seeing the transactions, you're right, that is kind of a scary thing, because what people don't know is right now, yes, your wallet is anonymous, right? But I don't know if you guys saw, but Instagram, you're allowed to now connect your wallet to your Instagram profile.
They're gonna find a way. I'm
so
telling you.
your name.
See, but that's also why I think the government doesn't own it, because I think they're trying to find ways to do it. And I think they will, but that's also why I don't think they own it, though.
I think they definitely have an advantage to be able to do that, because we're starting to unknowingly tie our wallet addresses to our names very, very quickly. So I connected, I've connected my wallet to a few websites, and I'm like, wait, like now my name is connected to that wallet.
And they know that you have that.
Exactly. So it can get sticky quick. But again, there are things now that are coming out that are getting sanctioned sometimes that are allowing you to stay more anonymous.
Right.
So I think it's going to be a tug of war.
Mm-hmm.
I do not believe that government is going to win. And the reason is because nowhere in history have we had the infrastructure in our control. What people don't think about is the blockchain. It's just code and it's open source. So anybody can copy and paste that code wherever.
Mm-hmm.
And you can create a soft fork even on a blockchain and create your own blockchain. So it doesn't take much for the people to take back control or to create something new. So I don't think there's only going to be like say government tries to take over a lot. It just can never be sustainable because somebody can just copy and paste code like that and create a new blockchain. So I think it's going to be super interesting because never in the history of time could just people in general create an infrastructure that's apart from the government, especially when it comes to owning assets or payments. So I think it's going to be super interesting to see really what happens from there. But I don't think just because of that fact that the government could be 100% in control.
Yeah. But I feel like people are really dumb. And they'll just be like, oh, yep, connect my wallet to this because I can, you know.
I agree with that, but I also think there's a few smart people.
No, yes, 100%.
There's a few smart people that will always keep it changing.
Yes,
yep.
100%.
Because, I mean, people, number one, are like, they're going to find ways to not
do things.
Yes,
there's actually,
that's all we're going to say.
There's actually something really cool that's happening in the identity space that's that will be like your layer 2 identity, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So right now we basically have ourselves and then our wallets, right? But what's going to happen on the blockchain is they're going to create an identity layer on top of that. That's like a pseudo identity that's going to say it's you, but it's going to be an encrypted you. So it's going to be a new version of an anonymous person that's tied to you, but it's encrypted. So now you're not
essentially.
Exactly. So this decentralized identity hasn't come out yet, but there's a lot of blockchains that are creating a decentralized identity.
I feel like this is where the metaverse can start tying in.
Yeah,
Totally.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
Wow, Ready Player One.
What are your right? What are your thoughts? Like, I know you're heavily involved in the metaverse, and like you love that space. I'm personally, I've never been in the metaverse, and I'm indifferent about it because like I think the ideas behind it are very cool. Because I'm working with a few companies right now, and they're like, you can walk through a body scan. That's what they're telling me they can do now. Mm-hmm. You can walk through a body scan. And it will literally, you can wear an Apple Watch, and it will track your heart rate, your body fat, your muscle density, what leg weighs more, what arm weighs more, how you should work out, how you should lose fat, what organs are not
That's why I don't
sustaining.
have an Apple Watch.
Like, there's so much. And these people are saying that this is all already out there. They're just not to the public yet. And so it's like, the metaverse, I think, is like very cool. Where I'm going with this is like, I think the metaverse is very cool, but it's like, at what point is it gonna like take over everything? And I don't want it to, and I've never been in the metaverse, so like I can't say. But it's like very scary to realize like, holy fuck, I can wear an Apple Watch and walk through a fucking. You can pretty much know like my fucking dick size. Like what the fuck? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like Jesus. Like where does it end?
Yeah, we can dive deep here in the metaverse if we want to. To your point about when, it definitely is something that's going to take a little bit of time because the infrastructure of the metaverse is so big. Just when it comes to like the video games that are out today or like what we're looking for, really the metaverse spaces that we have right now that are out, they're very kind of like remedial, right? It's like PS1 graphics, and nobody wants to do that. We want to have something that's more like real world compatible, and to have something like that, like say like better than say Call of Duty graphics. Mm-hmm. The GPU for that to have an interlocking system that's basically like our second world is humongous,
right?
And to have that decentralized, that's a whole new infrastructure that we need to have across the globe. So one of the first things that needs to be done in the metaverse is decentralized GPU, and some projects are doing that, like this project called Render. They're essentially allowing anybody who has a computer to use a piece of that GPU as part of the whole like webbed in GPU network. So what we need is basically all of us as a unit to provide GPU, because if Amazon or Facebook or whatever has all of the GPU, then it's not decentralized. All of your data is theirs. They could just flip the switch off. Right. So we have to have a whole processing system decentralized already. So that's a piece. Also, there has to be a uniformity. Like, for example, if you're in the metaverse and say you have like a shirt or your avatar, say you're in Decentraland, well, what if you want to go to the next metaverse? Like, can I still wear my same shirt? Do I still have the same avatar? Do I still have the same identity? So there's
going to be like social levels within the metaverse.
Oh, absolutely.
And this is what like the government's never let us get to that point before. So why now?
Because they can control and see.
Here's
exactly.
the one thing that
there has to be some control they're gonna have.
No, I think they're always gonna try to. But here's the one thing that I kind of am getting from this conversation and what you're saying, and this is the one like, I think what you're trying to say is that you don't know that if they're gonna control it or not. But what it does allow and what it does provide is it provides hope that we as the people can gain power again.
Yeah.
Totally.
But unless we all do it.
Totally.
Because like you said, like it's gonna take everyone to use their computers. It's gonna take everyone to do this, and for us to gain, so where Amazon can't come in and buy it all. Because at the end of the day, that's all our government did. They came in and they bought all the oil. They came in, they bought all they bought all the gold. They came in and they started owning all the printing machines. The government is just an entity.
Mhm.
That's all the government ever has been and ever will be. It's simply just a fucking LLC. But they just consumed so many entities and corporations to just keep going and buying things over and over and over again, just like any smart businessman would do. But what he's saying, and what I'm getting from what you're saying, is that if people stand up and start buying little pieces of it together, then we can have the power back.
Totally. And you're 100% correct. That's where I think the vision is so critical, and where people are actually like standing their ground in the public blockchains, the ones that aren't so centralized. And a lot of us, we want to follow the money. Like everybody's like, if you know XRP, that's a very centralized coin. It's really the big money, the whatever you want to call it, coin. And of course that's going to grow. But what like the OGs try to keep people involved in is those things that are actually decentralized. There are actually blockchains that are decentralized. So I don't think it's really avoidable at the beginning to actually get this rolled out. Like, right, we need regulations, all that stuff. We need protections for the consumers. I mean, I'm sure everybody at this table has been rug pulled, and not all of us are even fully into crypto, right?
Right.
It's just like part of the gig that there's all this stuff that needs to happen for consumer protection to actually become mass adopted. So my prediction is yes, a lot of it is going to be centralized, but that's going to still the infrastructure is there that the people will have the option to take control, because it's 100% doable. For example, there's this blockchain, I believe they're called Steam. I forgot which one was first, either Steam or Hive, but essentially there was a takeover of this platform, and a lot of the community didn't like this takeover, this centralization. And what happened is they simply copied and pasted the code and made a fork on that network, and then created, I believe it was Hive from Steam. So that's the cool part about this. Like, we couldn't do that before now. You couldn't just take the banking system or
And recreate it.
Yeah, you can't just copy and paste that over and say, hey, screw the dollar. Let's make dollar 2.0. We couldn't do that, but we can do that right now. So as a consensus or a democracy, we've never had more power than we have now.
See, the only thing that scares me with all this, right, with companies and everything, right, so this next crash that's coming, so they're raising interest rates, are going to destroy equities, real estate, all these things. It's going to be harder for people to borrow money. Everything runs off debt, right? Blah, 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 right? What scares me is now that the Fed and the U.S. Treasury have merged together as one entity, I feel like during this next crash, they're going to come in and then they're going to bail out companies. But in order to bail out the company and keep them afloat, the government's going to want a seat at that table, at the big table. And things when it comes to crypto, they want you, right? You want to buy their product. Well, if they come out with their own coin, like let's say Amazon coin, let's say Amazon needs to get bailed out. All of a sudden, Amazon has Amazon coin. If you use Amazon coin, you get a 10% discount. People buy Amazon coin, all of a sudden you're plugged into that system, and now the government has a seat at that table, and then now they can control what you buy, what you see, how you spend your money. They know what you're doing. They know that's what scares me when it comes to like businesses, crypto, and governments, because I feel like there's always some scary backdoor way that they could come in and try and take over, which defeats the purpose of crypto. Because if I was the government, that's how I would do it. I would just destroy the economy, right?
Same. Yeah.
Bail out airlines, bail out. You can only buy Southwest flights using Southwest coin.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you did something we didn't like? Nope, can't buy it. Can't do it.
Yep. And I think that's going to be how it goes. So essentially, I think the game is going to be you either fall into it and you're on the grid.
Right.
You know, anything that gets involved in that circle of what's tracked is going to be there. But there's always going to be, I don't know, I'll just call it like the black market. There's always going to be that space, and it's going to be a game of just kind of how it is now, but on kind of a maybe an easier way. But it's going to be, how do I have my money that's, you know, in the know versus out of the know.
See, we're at an interesting point too in time, because if you look back the last 5,000 years, because at this point we're talking about like currency collapse or whatever, right?
And it's rare, but it's not that rare.
We've always gone We've always gone back to gold, but this is the first time we have
another option,
digital currency. So like, you know, I love crypto. Don't get me wrong. It's just like, I'm just playing devil's advocate a little bit.
I'm indifferent because like I still think we're gonna go. I personally think this crash we're gonna go back to gold standard.
We've never not.
But I also think that's going to empower cryptocurrency. I think it's going to empower cryptocurrency heavy. Because I think that what they're going to do is personally, I think they're going to try and minimize cryptocurrency and not bring it as a currency. They're going to try to bring it as a commodity. And I think they're going to go back to a gold standard, which is just going to empower the commodities of the world, like cryptocurrency. Because let's be honest, at the end of the day, like technology isn't going anywhere.
No.
And if it does, we have a lot more shit to worry about than fucking money. We're probably trying to figure out where to eat, you know what I mean, and what to like, how to survive. So I think they're gonna go back to a gold standard one more time, and then I think they're gonna go back to gold and silver and all that. But the commodity of cryptocurrency is gonna be so strong and so powerful, because at the end of the day, what I truly believe is that everything runs off supply and demand. And so if the world is supplying, because as of right now, like, we don't know when gold's going to run out. So the people's greed is going to say that gold's going to last forever. Oh, I just found a gold mine. You want to buy into this gold mine? So it's always going to last. But we know when cryptocurrency can end and is going to end. So the demand...
But there's a cost to produce, which gives Bitcoin its value as well. There's a cost to produce gold. There's a cost to produce Bitcoin. So it gives us its value. So I don't think it matters, because it still costs something to produce that gold or that Bitcoin. It doesn't cost anything to print money right now.
Well, that's the shitty part, and that's what I'm saying is that's why I think that cryptocurrency is going to be a commodity, never a currency. I think calling it a cryptocurrency is like changing the industry of where I don't think Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all it's not going to be a currency.
I don't think it matters. It's up to us.
Yeah.
I mean,
if I want to buy something, you take Bitcoin, we just use it as a currency.
There we go. You know, supply and demand, trade and trade.
I think if we do go to the gold standard, it would absolutely give Bitcoin that validity.
Yeah.
Because it is actually a scarce asset like like gold and silver.
Right.
That's what some people don't understand about Bitcoin compared to every other cryptocurrency. People wrap Bitcoin into like they say Bitcoin and Ethereum are the same thing when they're absolutely not.
No.
So Bitcoin is the it's completely like a commodity. As a fixed supply, it's really more like a store of value. Mm-hmm. Even if it's not made on a transaction basis, like as like a payment, it serves its purpose, is storing that value, because there's only 21 million Bitcoin in existence. So that's its purpose. And with like Ethereum or other coins, what people don't know, and it wouldn't serve as a commodity as much, is that's like Ethereum it's for programming. It's where you create programs on top of that, or create smart contracts on top of that. And some other cryptocurrencies are actually made as a payment. So they have like inflationary mechanisms to actually keep the price down more and more. And the way some blockchains work is that cryptocurrency is used to reward the people that host that blockchain, so that they can use that cryptocurrency to pay for other things.
Right.
So Bitcoin is super, super unique, and I think from a long-term perspective, it's the only one that makes sense, because it's perfect how it is.
So I have a question, right? So there's thousands of cryptos out there, right? You can, I can send you money in Litecoin, Bitcoin, Cardano, Ripple, whatever. I've never, other than Ethereum with smart contracts and with those, I've never really heard of a crypto that makes sense other than maybe Bitcoin or another crypto that's a lot cheaper and faster to send. But like, where is the utility? The only utility coin that made sense to me was for casinos, to where, like, let's say I wanted to go to Hong Kong and go gamble. Well, I can't bring $50,000 cash, through the border, but I can carry the casino coin on my phone and then use it, deposit, or, get chips and then get paid out like that. And then they can pay me out vice versa. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
That was really the only utility coin for payment, other than, like I just gave Amazon, for example, like, oh, use our coin. Like, nothing makes sense other than just, let's just use Bitcoin or Litecoin.
Those ones will
something.
weed themselves out. The ones that just don't matter.
Do you know any other like utility coins where it would make sense like that?
There's a few. I would say XRP might be one of those because it's exactly that point. The XRP is essentially used to process transactions across borders. So that's the whole point of XRP. But really, there aren't many coins that make sense from just a pure utility standpoint. And the one thing I like people to think about is when you think about like Ethereum, and this is not to say like I'm against Ethereum or something like that, but the way that the technology is increasing at such a fast pace, like we saw Ethereum, it does 15 transactions per second. And just in the last 2 years, we're getting blockchains that do 100,000 transactions per second.
Wow.
And Ethereum just upgraded its first upgrade. And I forgot how long it took. I think it was being worked on for at least since 2019. And it was just upgraded once. And it didn't make it faster. It didn't make it cheaper. The next time Ethereum is going to be upgraded to make it faster is 2027. So in the last 2 years, we already have blockchains that do 100,000 transactions per second, blows Ethereum out of the water. And you're saying at 2027, Ethereum is just going to be now faster. And there's actually 2 more upgrades after that. Who knows how long that's going to take?
Is Doge one of those coins that moves way faster?
Doge is on the Litecoin blockchain, so it moves a little bit faster. But I think when it comes to like tech, when it comes to like performance tech in the crypto space, I think we're way too confident in certain coins. Like, how are we taking a coin like Ethereum and it being wildly underperforming for a lot of these blockchains and just putting all of our chips there? I feel like, we've seen this with the internet boom. We had like Netscape, we had AOL, Yahoo, we had all these companies that we thought were like the bomb, and they got outpaced by other companies. And in the last 2 years, if we're looking at 15, we're looking at things that are 10, 20xing our bellwether for the smart contract space. I just think people are going to, like you're saying, like a lot of these are going to be phased out very quickly. So this is where the mindset is so critical. The crypto space is so young that you need to understand, like, to be very attentive to this space. Or if you are a long-term investor, you have to know which coins that actually make sense long-term. And there's really very few of them.
Do you think that if Bitcoin, the owner of Bitcoin, like the creator of Bitcoin, was found out, it would take Bitcoin from, like, because it wouldn't be a hot commodity anymore. Like, if you found out, it'd be less of a value. Like, you don't think so?
Nope.
It still does the same thing. Yeah.
I love it. That was like a really
unless it was like the government, I think people would be like, okay.
Yeah.
I really like that point because a lot of people have that fear that, like, say it was like, I don't know, who knows? Let's just say it's like Adolf Hitler, like, somebody terrible. It doesn't matter because it's the code, right? The code is public code. You can go out there and search exactly what is Bitcoin's code, and you can read through it. It's completely public. So it's not about who made it. It's what is the code? How does the code operate? The code's been vetted, to an extent where people accept that the code is clean enough. It's not the most sophisticated code, whatever. But who made it is actually not the most important part. But it's actually, in my opinion, one of the coolest parts because it's showing that things can be created. And it wasn't just Satoshi. Satoshi, initially made it, but it was refined by multiple developers. But it's something that can be created anonymously, and that's something we haven't had in history before. Like GitHub, if you know what that is, that's where people can work on projects together, and they can even do it anonymously. So I think it's a very powerful thing to actually have it like that, to where we can see the code that was created, we can see it 100%. The blockchain is public, we can see all the transactions, so it really doesn't matter. And there's other blockchains that have been made through anonymous developers or developers that nobody has heard of. But since we can verify that code, that's the most important part.
There's a theory on it on who Satoshi is, but it's Samsung, Toshiba, Nokia, and Motorola.
I've seen that.
It fits pretty well.
It's like too weird.
It could be. So, real quick, I love that. So number 1, Bitcoin is king.
It's the only one that makes sense long term, in my opinion.
Love it.
And that's not to say, and like my jam is really making a lot of percentage off of the short term, just because I understand,
But do you always transfer it back to Bitcoin?
That would be ideal. I have some. That would be any of those ones that I talked about at the beginning. But yeah, I would say, just kind of like a side note on this, and we were talking a little bit about this, is understanding the dollar. I think was a big piece of my my trading career that like helped me out the most, because if you understood the dollar this year, you would understand why everything is happening, and understanding how powerful just governments are in inflating currencies. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, if the government wants to increase interest rates, the dollar is going up. Yeah. And if the dollar goes up and they want to increase interest rates again, the dollar is going to go up again. And if they want to do it again, it can go up again. And that was really, really a big deal to me, because, I was thinking, if you just look at the, say the DXY, and you're looking at the DXY and it looks like a needle straight up into the air, you're like, all right, that's unsustainable market structure. So of course, at some point that's going to fall down. But the big piece is actually when. And if like the monetary policy or the fiscal policy, it just depends on who you are. Yes, you can go into Bitcoin if you have that long-term perspective, and I think that's great. But also, if you understand the macro, like I've learned that the dollar does make sense sometimes. It matters, as an investor, like when do you need cash, or where can you find opportunities in between things? And I think this is the discussion between, like, what type of trader are you? I think from a long-term perspective, 100% Bitcoin. But if you're like a cyclical investor, if you want to, understand how to protect your capital in bear markets, understanding something like the dollar to actually where, like everything's moving crypto, but actually there is times where the dollar makes sense. And this last year, it was a time where the dollar made a lot of sense. But if you didn't understand how the dollar works, you'd be in a position where a lot of us in crypto are, where our portfolios are, down again. And yes, some people can survive that, but I'm dealing with a lot of people who are getting into this market. And really, the key to being successful in crypto, in my opinion, is to survive one bear market and get to a new high, to where no matter what, your next bear market low, you're still in profit. Yeah. If you're there, you're Gucci in crypto, but that's a hard place to get to. How long is the bear market going to be? Is it going to be like a 2017 kind of deal where it didn't break up until 2020? You need to understand the dollar at that point. Are you going to be cool with your portfolio being underwater for 2 years? Some of us, yes. Some
and this
of
is
us,
where
no.
dollar cost averaging comes in.
Yeah.
So nicely. Like, if you dollar cost average right now, and right now is not a bad time to start buying if you're new to this. You should be dollar cost averaging right now. If it dips lower, keep buying. Dips lower, keep buying. Dips lower, keep buying. Yep. And same with on the way up, because it's gonna eventually. I mean, you can't say for sure, but it most likely will hit new highs with like the technology that it is. Mm-hmm. So it's like you can weather that storm, and a lot of people have, and just look at it from a standpoint as like, stop comparing it to the US dollar and compare it to, this is a Bitcoin and there's 21 million made. Yes. And you can be one of those people that can have one of those Bitcoin.
I really like I love your point of the 0.28 Bitcoin, because the way I think of it is if Bitcoin is the market cap of gold, and say it's something that resembles gold, and it does, and I think it's even better than gold because you don't have to carry it, right? So think about if you owned 1% of gold. Yeah. Okay, if you're in the 1% holders of gold, you do amazing, right? You'd probably have a lot of money. So if you have 0.28 Bitcoin right now, you're in the 1% of Bitcoin holders. So I think if you have that perspective on how achievable it could be to reach something like being in the 1 percentile of gold holders, I think that's a very powerful place to kind of shoot for.
100%. I love it. Before we end this real quick, I got one quick thing, everyone, real quick to say, and also want you guys in the comment section below, tell us your answer to this question real quick. what is your best crypto trade?
Oh, my best crypto trade was definitely Dogecoin.
What'd you buy it at? What'd you sell it at?
Oh, I bought it well under a cent, almost under whatever point of another cent that is. The reason why I bought it is really very, very fundamental. Is Robinhood. They had cryptocurrency on it, and I saw Bitcoin, I saw Ethereum, I saw Ethereum Classic, then I saw Dogecoin, and I was like, okay, this really doesn't match up. Why would Robinhood put Dogecoin into, it's like
They
putting,
probably owned it.
It's like there's something more to this coin than that nobody knows about. So yeah, just put, like under $2,000 in, and it went close to six figures. So
That's
a good feeling.
Yeah, I was like, okay, it's time to pay attention to cryptocurrency.
I love that. What about you?
I was heavily invested in Bitcoin since about 5,000. I took profit at 67.5.
There we go. What about you?
5,000.
Back in 2017, what got me started in all this, I put like $2,500 in Bitcoin, and then I bought Verge. I made
I
like
remember
40.
that. You were
I
at
made
my
like-
house.
I was at your house in Dallas.
Yeah.
I made like 40 grand on that trade.
That's
I
awesome.
love
Oh
that.
hell yeah!
I love that. My best and worst trade ever. I bought Ripple, an IPO when it was half a penny.
What?
I sold it.
I cannot
sold
believe
it
it.
at a penny. I sold it at a penny.
That's
Pretty
the
good
best
trade.
one.
It was a great trade, but also looking back, it was my worst
Who
trade.
told you about that?
Dude, there was some 16-year-old kid in a group with me and Levi Peters, and we were sitting there fucking just trading Forex, and this kid came in here, he goes, guys, I promise you, y'all want to invest in Ripple. And we were like, what? No, like, we're not investing in this. He's like, it's not even a real coin yet. He's like, I promise you. Dude, I put like $1,000.
Oh, how many coins is
half a
that?
penny. It was at half a penny. So
Oh
like
my
it was like it
gosh.
wasn't even a full penny yet, and then I doubled my money and got out.
Wow.
But I went back into the math, and if I would have held and I would not be here, right? I'd be in a fucking island.
Hey, don't worry. I think nearly, I would say most of us in crypto have had stuff like
Something
that.
like that
I've had a billion safe moon before. I think Xander over there, he did really well with a few million safe moon. So we'll just leave it at that. I sold it.
While you're at it, tell us your best crypto trade in the comment section below. Also, Trader Society hats are on sale. Go to tradersociety.com. They are in the merch section. Thanks, my dude. Man, I appreciate you coming on, bro. It was great. I learned a lot. Actually, I actually buy fucking Bitcoin. You know what? Fuck it. Buy Bitcoin.
Bitcoin.
We got Mr. Derek Vandy here. We got Grant Hardy. I'm Anthony's World. We'll put what's your Instagram real quick?
Noah Defraties.
We'll put it somewhere like right
Spell
here down below. We'll do that because I cannot spell that. I couldn't do that.
It's rough.
I could not do that. Peace out. Let's
Later,
fucking
guys.
go.